Hello everyone, I'm Salih and welcome to TechBuddy. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about 10 cool thing about Visual Studio. Visual Studio is the main IDE that I use my daily routine, so my daily job. And there are good tips and tricks that I always use, and I will be listing down 10 of those today. Let's dive into it. All right, we are gonna start with CodeLens. So as a project, I have an open source NuGet package project over here that I have. I call it Input Reader. It helps you to read the input value from the console. It could be simple values just like string or any integer value, any datetime value. It doesn't matter. But we are going to be showing our examples, our samples on that project right now. CodeLens. CodeLens is basically helps you to find if any of your function, if any of your properties is being used somewhere else. For instance, let's say I have input value over here. This is my record here. And to be able to find where it's being used, I could right click and say, okay, find all references. It's going to bring me the whole list of where it is being used, right? So I can click one of those and get there. So this is one of the feature. But if you enable the CodeLens, it is going to show you just above, within a line, just above the actual line. To be able to do that, just go to search, say CodeLens. So it is turn CodeLens on or off. It is under text editor, all languages and CodeLens. If we go to manually over there's the option over here exactly. So we are in the toolbox menu and text editor, all languages. You can actually, I believe you can disable per language or not. But in any way, so if you enable CodeLens, it will bring a couple of other options that you can use. Let me do it first. Okay. So now I see additional lines in my CodeLens. So it says two references. When I click that, I'm still able to seeing those properties, right? It is the same for input values. Let me go to input value again. So now it has 19 references. So there were many options over here. You can see test results. For example, if you've got unit test, you can see the test results just top of the CodeLens line. So the CodeLens is just showing you different properties for that one. Also, if you are managing if you're versioning your codes, like using by TFS or just Git or any integrated Git systems, for example, you can also see how many changes it's, for example, let me just switch to that. So how many changes, who has changed that one lastly. I'll just try to find any changes here. If you're using Git, for example, like me, you will also see the changes here. Let me find. Yeah, for example, over here. So the yes input, yes no input value has been changed 2 days ago by Salih. So it's me. You can also this team activity. If one of your team members also worked that one, you can also see who's working on that, and also the author and change. You can see the all Git history. So the CodeLens, if it is enabled, it can show you the whole references, but also for the other Git stuff, cool stuff. If you want to disable some of those, you can come over here and change it as you wish. Now let's switch to second one. Nowadays, everyone is using microservices, or just when you have loads of project in your solution explorer, you can just basically collapse all. You can be struggling to find whatever you are looking for. Let's say you're just gonna work on input reader project or one of those project folder. You're just gonna need a couple of those. But in the solution explorer, you've got many solution items, many maybe source, many solution folders, maybe too many project folders or something like that. But you don't want to see those. You just like simplicity, clarity, right? So Visual Studio has solution filters. It's not solution filter, but you can create your own. Not create, but you can use one of the scopes. What I mean by that is that, for example, if you're just gonna use the only on that test application where I have my sample codes for that repository, for example, for the NuGet package, for example, if you're just gonna work with that solution, that project test console app, so you would basically right click to it and set select scope to this. What it does is remove everything from the solution. I mean, not removing, but hiding from you from the solution explorer, and you get a clear, simple solution explorer right now over here you can use. So you can still use, for example, if you go in it, you can still jump into somewhere else without this one. For example, if I go to into that one, I'm still able to open an application, open a project from that other resources, that other solutions, that other not solutions, that other project has. But I'm even though I'm still reviewing those, I don't see it in here. So to be able to go back from your scope, you can basically click that back button. So it will bring everything in the project, in your solution, and you can basically scope to something else. For example, if you have more than one project under one folder, so you can scope that folder as well. Right click the folder, scope to this, and you will have that folder and whatever underneath. So it is something useful when you are working with many projects in your solution explorer. To have the clarity, you can use the scope to that. Now let's talk about tabs. So tabs are important in Visual Studio. So as you see, I was just showing two examples, solution filters and code lens, but I am just opening new tabs every time when I click. So every time I go there, every time just when I click that. So tabs can be more organized, I would say. To be able to organize them, for example, if you click that pin button, it goes separate line, right? So separate row. So if you click that one as well, so let's assume you've got bunch of tabs, but those are the most ones that you're using, most useful, or mostly recent you are using. So if you click pin, that pin button, so it is going to bring everything to up to a new row. And by right clicking, you could have close all tabs option, close documents tabs, close other tabs other than that, and also all but pinned. So if you click that one, so you're gonna have only the pinned ones. But this is not the only feature that it has with tabs. If you click that small button over here that says options, and you can see color document by tabs. So I can choose project. So if my tabs are from that project, whatever this is, so this line, this color is basically belong to input reader project. It's because I know yes, no value is from there. And also the other one, so the different color I have over here, and it is from that one. So you can basically separate your tabs by only setting their color. It could be coming from different project, different file extension. For example, CS file can be that color, but TXT file might be that color, and README file, MD extension could be different color, or whatever you have. For example, if I go to that one, this will be another one. It's because it is CS Push. Not only the color one is not the only good things about this one. So if you go to options menu, it is going to bring you the option on environment tabs and windows. You can basically set wherever you want this tab layout. So it can be on the left, on the right, or just at the top. And also you can basically use the sorting, alphabetical, most recently open tabs first. You can have any other options as well. Insert the new tabs to the right of existing type. If you have if you have one tab, and if you click the new one, the new one will be on the right hand side. And also pin tabs, so over here, so show pin tabs in a separate row. You can enable or disable that one. Show pin button on unpinned tabs, or you can have other options as well here. I can say new line for that one, or just, I don't know, grouping things, sorting things alphabetically, or having the whole tabs to somewhere else. Colorize document by file extension. You can change it over here too. But also, there's one more thing. It is not that one, but I'm just gonna show you in that one. It's because now we have option over here, but we already have some sort of, you may just assume this is a bonus step. So if you click the right button, if you right click that the scroll bar and go to options, you're gonna see an option over here, use map mode for vertical scroll bars, and you can use narrow, medium, or wide. Let's go with medium. So instead of having a regular scroll bar right now, so you're going to have something fancy, that even fancier, that you can just hover the mouse and see what's going on over there. Not only it shows the code or the whole structure, it also shows if there's any problem, or let's say if you have even a scroll bar over here, the breakpoint somewhere, you're gonna able you will be able to see those over here as well. So as a bonus tip, scroll bar was the option. And switch to next one. I'm just gonna call this peak definition. I don't know how you're just gonna using the navigation in Visual Studio, but it is so advanced, so you can use it in many ways. For instance, I'm just gonna go over here, program CS. So I have a couple of methods over here, right? So yes, no function under input. So if you wanna get into that one, you can use your keyboards. By the way, your keyboard settings might be different than mine, but what I'm just gonna show you that my keyboard, I'm still using VS 2005 profile, and I just customized it a bit. But if you're using something else, some other profiles from here, your shortcut might be different than mine. So do not forget that. So if you want to get into it from keyboard, you can click F12. So it's going to bring you in. Or you can right click and say, okay, go to definition. So the definition is where it is defined, right? So if I come back and right click again, I can also say go to implementation. So if I click that one, it brought me to the same position. So where it is being defined and where it is being implemented. In that case, the implementation and the definition is the same line, but it might not be. So if I just go, for example, date only input, let me find, so input reader. Input reader is my in, and actually I don't need that. So I can even come over here. Yeah. Read until validator or read. Maybe find read. As read is an interface function. If I right click to that one and go to definition, it will bring me to where it is defined. So the interface, right? So, but if I right click to that one and say, oh, go to implementation, it will bring me where it is being implemented, right? So this is where it is being implemented. But if I want to see, for example, with the allowed values, if I want to see the content, so inside, without going actually inside, you can right click and say peak definition. In that case, it's going to bring you where it is definition. So peak definition, this is the definition, not the implementation. For example, read until valid function. If you right click that one and peak definition, as this is the function itself and its definition and the implementation is in the same place, if you right click and peak definition, it's going to bring a new window over here, Visual Studio window. You can see the content quickly without actually going it in. So what I would do is just go to implementation, see the content. All right, then come back here and do whatever you want. But if you're using the peak definition, which is the Alt F12 key shortcut that I'm going to be using, so Alt F12, it's going to bring me a new window so I can see the content right quickly. This is something. So this is something that you could use to speed up your things. Let's switch to next one, which is active tracking item. I'm not sure if you just observed that, if you just realized that, but when you click any of tabs over here, let's say this class is called base input reader. So I'm now currently working on that tab, right? Or maybe just I'm working on that one or working on that one. So when you switch your tabs, your active tabs, you can also be able to locate or navigate or set the active item on it on the solution explorer. It is not the default value, I guess, default behavior, but you can do that. To be able to do that, so for example, if you click that one, it opens here. So if you choose any item from your solution explorer, it opens the tab, but it is not the same for the otherwise. So if I click that one, see, it is still choosing, it is still selecting the base input reader. It doesn't change the effectivity. activity. So I'm just gonna search for that. Track active items on and off under project solution and general. Under project solutions and general, you're gonna see an option for that one. Track active item is in Solution Explorer. Once you enable that one, now whenever I switch any tabs, see, the related file will be selected on the project in the Solution Explorer. So if I locate the select license txt file, it will be selected. So now not only I'm choosing my active item from Solution Explorer and I have the active tab, but also I can change my active tab so to be able to have the active item on Solution Explorer. This could be an active item. Let's switch to sixth. So the sixth one is the bookmarks. I'm not sure if you are using it, but I am using it. If you're working on a big project and if you, I don't know, want to bookmark something that you're using the most, for instance, if this red function is the one that I'm using the most, that I will be working on the most, I can come over here, whatever line I want to go for, and click that toggle bookmark on the current line. So you can see the shortcut as well, Control plus B and T. So if I bookmarked it, I would be seeing this little icon over here. Also, you can go to Edit and Bookmarks and toggle, disable, enable, previous, next, clear all bookmarks, or whatever you have, you can basically have over here. So once you have any bookmarks, now you can have enabled the previous and the next button, as well as this clear all bookmarks button. So if you want to clear all, so you can clear them all. So let's say I bookmarked that one and something from here, let's say that line, and maybe integer, maybe that line. Now I have a couple of bookmarks that's been bookmarked. I have a couple of lines that's been bookmarked, and I can navigate basically between the lines by using only this next or just the previous bookmarks. So you can get the benefit of using the bookmarks. Next one will be task list with. If you ask me what it is, I'm just gonna show you how cool it is actually. So if you go to View menu and find Task List over here, you can have your shortcut, but this is what mine is. And if you open the task list, it's basically a list of tasks. But you can ask what the task is. So the task is, for example, if you have to do, refactor this function. So as you're creating a task for yourself in Visual Studio is helping you to find those later. So if you said, okay, to do, and you will see to do, refactor this one. But you can ask if I have Salih, for example, and save it. So it is not appearing over here. It's because it is not, so there is a list, predefined list. So to do, for example, one of those, was it done? I'm not sure, is it done or undone? And there will be more, but yeah, undone is one of those. And I will be showing you how you can just customize this one. If you go to Tools menu and select Options, you can basically search task list from here. It will be under environment task list. So this is the task list that's predefined, and I didn't customize anything, but I want to add something over here. So to be able to find it later, I'm just going to put a name over here and my new to do, let's say, and I will set the priority as high and add. So I have now my new to do. So if I have that one, for example, on one of the lines, my new to do, now it will be appearing over here. So now I can click to that one and see. Let's say I am now working on some other project, and this is being minimized. I'm now working on some another class or any other function, and I want to just push my code to the GitHub repository, right? But just before to do that, I want to make sure that everything is cool with the project, is everything is done. Every to-do is being completed. So I can open the task list and go to, I need to refactor this one so I can get the benefit of it. So the next one, so the seventh one is code cleanup. I'm not sure if you're using it, but there's it might be hidden somewhere. So if you right click of your any solution, any project, let me just see any solution as well, and analyze and code cleanup menu will be appearing here. It is the same for project as well. So analyze, code cleanup. So now currently profile 1 and profile 2 have been predefined. So if you go to configure code cleanup, you're going to be able to add some functionality. When you clean up your project, you can choose whatever you want to be happen to your project. Let's say profile 1, which is the default one, is removing unnecessary imports or using. So let's assume you have this one over here, right? So if I right click to that one and remove and sort using, so this is the function remove and sort using, it will clear that one, right? So let me just test this. So see, it's gone. So I'm just gonna put it back. So this is one of the actions that I have. So if I go back again to the code cleanup configuration, so if I choose profile 1, it will remove unnecessary imports or using, right? And also apply file header preferences and also sort imports and using. Again, format documents as well. If your document is not well formatted, it will be formatting as well. And there are other available fixers, what Microsoft calls it. So remove unnecessary and unused variables. You can use that function. Apply is not preferences. I'm not sure. Sort include directives if you are working on C++. And you can add this or me qualification, for example. You might have it. Make field read only. So let's put it into make field read only if it is where it is possible. So and select that one. So I have this one here. If I right click that project and go to analyze and clean up and choose clean up profile 1. So see, it does something. It did something, and it did something. That's something. It is in my list over here. I would have the configuration. Those have been done just so quickly. So you can create your own profile and make your project even better by choosing this profile. This is being called clean up. So analyze and code cleanup. So you can use the code cleanup features or services in Visual Studio. Next one is the cool one, actually, maybe the coolest one. It is called Code Snippet Manager or Management. Code Snippet is actually, for example, let me just open the IntelliSense. If I say prop, see, so this icons is belong to what it is called is snippet. So show only snippets, right? So you can basically filter whatever you're having here by using those functions, those buttons underneath under. So the prop is a snippet. So if you choose one of those snippet, for example, prop full, and tab again. So tab. Let me do it again. Prop full, tab, completed the name, and other tab is bringing you something, right? It is the same for construction. For example, if you write CTOR and write a tab, it will bring you a new constructor of that project, that class. It is the same, for example, console write line. So let me get into one of those. Console write line, CW. If you click tab, it's going to bring you the write line. So this is managed basically underneath the tools and the code snippet manager. So this code snippet manager shows you whatever you are already having in your Visual Studio and whatever you can add, you can import. So in C#, for example, you can choose the other ones as well. In C#, we have Visual C# and everything is here basically. Whatever snippets we have in C#, you can see. So C, try finally, switch, struct, prop G, prop full that I just used, and even the console write line. So console. So it says, the description says code snippet for console write line. So not only we can see what is inside, but also we can customize our own. We can add our own. So if you see, there is another folder over here. It is called code snippets, my code snippets. It can be done within two ways. So you can have one of the snippets extension file and import it from here, or basically you can copy your snippet underneath that folder. So for example, those are the snippets already. So if let me just open one of those in here. So let me just go console write line. So this is the syntax of snippet files that Visual Studio understands and allow you to use it. So the title, that is just the title, and this is the shortcut. Shortcut means whatever you are going to be using in Visual Studio. So CW, and the description and the author, it can be anyway, it can be anything. And we have under snippet, we have declarations. We are now going to declare something, and we have literal. The literal is the system console over here, basically the system console um, interface API from Microsoft itself, .NET itself. And also, so this is the ID, this is the function that's going to be using. And for example, this is the code system console dot write line and says ends here, which means the cursor will be positioned in that one between here. So if I come again here, let me just console write line tab. So see, the cursor is in between the brackets. So this is where you're setting it. And we can also have another one. So let me just open prop, for example, prop full snippet, open new one. This is the prop new. So if you remember, prop new was bigger than that one. It is not only one line, prop full. So it brings me this line and this 4 line, but also see the cursor is now blinking over here, and I'm now allowed to change this one, for example, to string. And after this one, so I'm seeing this is being selected, and this is also going to be selected, and this is being selected, which means by using the tab key from my keyboard, I can switch those sections. We will be seeing how. So let's say my var, I'm just going to make it. And if I click tab again, so it will bring me to the new property name. So my var. So that's all. So you can also activate or select those two. So literal, the literal is type. So the type, for example, is this one. So the string was my type over here, and its tooltip is property type, and the default value was integer. If you prop anything again, prop full, so the default value is integer, as you see. And also we've got property, and the property default value is my property. And we also have field, and the default value is my var, as you just see. And this is the code itself. So the private type, so the name of type should be matching this one, right? So basically I am bringing this value into here, so private integer, and the field also should match with this one, and also the type and the property itself, and this will be again my snippet. So I have new snippets, for example. Let me bring it to you. So I copied and opened my snippet file over here. It is fast list creation. I'm just gonna have a simple snippet, and you will be seeing how it works. It generates a list of specific type and Microsoft Corporation expansion, and my literals are the list name, right? So the name of the property, whatever it is. And the default is my list. And I have another one. It is the type, and the default is integer. And my code is so simple. Basically, var list name equal new list type, and it ends here. So, and I also have the curly brackets, but the cursor will be positioned here after I used it. So as I copied that one into my code snippet, now I can go to tools and snippet manager, and now I will be seeing it here. So generates a list of specific types. So from now on, if I come here, my list, you will be seeing it appears. And also if I click tab again, I will be seeing my own snippet here. So it makes a lot of sense. It has its own some sort of structure, but if you visit that web page, you can find the link below, and it tells you basically how you can customize those, and what is the property, and how you can select all the other features, how you can use all the other features. For example, they have something here, so you can read that documentation for code snippets. And it's been super useful. For example, if you're working on unit tests, for example, I have AAA. It's going to bring me arrange action and assert section automatically. I don't need to write it in every unit test. You can use it for something like that. And the next one, the ninth one, I'm not sure how long the video is, but it is quite long. But the ninth one, sorry, it is 10th one. So the 10th one is tool menu. So the tool menu is something. It's because I'm not sure if you're using the toolbox menu here, and you can weave it by choosing a toolbox here and then view menu toolbox. So the toolbox, if if you're developing a console, not the console, but the form application, if you have components, that visual components, then you can drag and drop into your visual form, let's say C# Windows form. The toolbox will contain all of your predefined or just somehow loaded components. But if you are not working on that, even though you are working on that, but it makes sense more than not using it. If you're like working on a class library or console application, or it doesn't matter, you can still use the toolbox, but not storing your component, but saving your, I can say, text or whatever you like. Let me show you something. So if I go to here, and let's imagine you are doing a presentation, right? So you work on your project and you know what you're going to present to someone else, but you don't want to do the code writing things on live. So you want to prepare your codes, store it somewhere, and while you are doing your presentation, use them, right? So let's say yes, no input reader is my thing. So I can now come over here and copy. And I'm just going to delete this one. So let's imagine you're going to present something and you're going to mention about this yes, no input reader, but you don't want to write it over here in the presentation as it's going to maybe take too long. I just copied that, cut that, it doesn't matter. So I now come over here to toolbox and right click paste. So now it has been pasted. So I'll just rename the item by saying yes, no input reader. So now I have something over here. I stored my data. So let's assume now you're doing your presentation and you're going to be showing something. Open toolbox, drag and drop the code, or by double clicking, you can basically bring whatever you paste over there. It's basically you're storing or saving, I don't know, your text that you want to show later. It could be even AAA, as I mentioned earlier. So the AAA could be there, and double click, it brings you arrange action and the assert section while you're using the unit test. It's some sort of snippet, right? So you can use toolbox by storing anything. You can have multiple. Let's say we also have chart input. It can be anything. Copy, come over here, paste, rename it. You don't have to rename it, but to make it easier to find, the chart input reader. Even I don't have it here, now I can bring it by double clicking. So now I have this one. As a bonus, so it is the 10. It is the 10 of this little. It is little, but when it is 10, it is big now. So little cool stuff about Visual Studio. And I want to show you something as a bonus tip. If you say you copy a lot, copy text while you are working on your Visual Studio project, you copy a lot. And sometimes you copy something and without pasting, you copy something else. So you overridden, right? So you override it, whatever you have. Let's assume I copy that line and I'm just going to paste it to somewhere else. Let's say here. I paste it here, right? So that's what we all do. Let's say I copied that line, process pre-build, right? And also process print. So let me just right click, copy, and process print, copy that too. So now I want to move or just paste those somewhere else. Let's say here. If I right click and paste, it's going to bring me whatever I copied the last, right? So this one, process print. But if you are using your keyboard and if you click Ctrl Shift V, it's going to open the clipboard history, the clipboard that has whatever you copied. So now I have process pre-built, and also, sorry, and also process, I don't know, process print I have. So now I was able to bring everything I copied, and even though I overridden it into main clipboard, but don't forget, you also have clipboard history. If you right click, I mean, if you hold Control Shift and V at the same time, it is going to bring you the whole clipboard history. If you like that video, and if you're just watching it for over 30 minutes, please hit the like button. And if you have any question, or you can even share your own thoughts, your own clipboard things, or any other hidden menu, hidden feature things, or even the other cool stuff that in the Visual Studio that you're using, you can share those in the comment section below. And if you want to subscribe, if you subscribe that channel, you will be able to notified when I when I publish when I deploy the new video for the next time. Until next time, happy coding.